Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Marquette on the Line. I'm Ryan Burk, and I have the pleasure today to be joined by award-winning journalist and author Mike Sager, who so graciously has come here to the Diedrich College of Communications to share a little bit about his expertise in the journalism field. Now, we've got a very exciting show planned for today. We've got a studio audience here who's going to get a chance to ask Mike some questions. So without any further ado, Mike, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
No problem. You know, I guess my first question for you is, obviously, you're not your average journalist. You've had all sorts of different experiences. And when you first started out in journalism, did you ever have any idea that your career would evolve to where it has?
Well, that's funny because I think the main watchword of my career ever since, I think it came to me first when I was on my way to the law boards. And I told myself I just want to see how far I could go in writing. So that led me to a 3-week career in law school, but then after that, just moving forward, always trying to move forward.
You know, for you as a journalist, one of the things that's unique for you is that most journalists, and it's changing a little bit recently, but tend to write for one particular platform. They'll write for a website or they'll write for one magazine or one newspaper, whereas you've done all sorts of different things, different magazines, different books, things like that.
Yep.
How do you adjust your writing style dependent upon what platform or what magazine you're writing for?
Well, you know, over the years, as my style has evolved, so have my sort of the customers or what runs my work. And I guess it's all kind of a continuum of achievement because, you know, writing is a craft. So like any art, music, you know, over time you change and evolve as an artist. And I've changed and evolved as a writer and a storyteller in that way.
You know, as developing those sources so closely, one thing that, of course, you're taught as any student of journalism is that you need to sort of develop your own code of ethics. And with being so close to sources, how do you differentiate between, you know, what I can write and what maybe I shouldn't include?
Well, I think, first of all, I deal with people as a human being, with the highest standard that you can possibly have of interpersonal reactions and relations. And then I find that the journalism questions get answered by the moral and human questions, and that if you're doing the right thing in general, then you find the answer in your journalism.
I feel like from watching the debates and seeing different people's opinions of him, he either, in his position as county executive, is either viewed as the hero that saved Milwaukee County and saved the budget, or the individual that just completely destroyed it. How would you respond to the people who say that he came into Milwaukee County and hasn't left it any better than he found it?
Well, I think there's a lot of people who things have been the way they are, and that's the way they should stay. And so when you've got a guy like Scott Walker who's very innovative in the way he thinks, I mean, he's made proposals that are very out there, and I think people get scared because it's always, the zoo's always been county controlled, paid by the taxpayers, and the airport's been that way. And I think there's been so much, the union's always gotten this, and that people are so used to having that comfort that when Scott Walker comes in with a proposal that it's very out there, very different, that can save money, I think people get a little scared. I think he certainly has left Milwaukee County in a better position than when he came here. The bonding is down, they've paid off some debt, they haven't really increased property taxes. The county board has done a little increases, but I think he's overall done a really good job.
Okay, and one final question about Scott Walker. Obviously, small town guy, grew up in Walworth County, and really sells himself as the brown bag candidate. Can you tell a little bit about what that is and why you think he has that angle?
Yeah, the brown bag movement to Scott Walker is, you know, in public families, they've got to somehow cut money. They've got to either not eat out when they go to lunch. Early on in the campaign, if you might remember, he says he has a 1998 Saturn that he still drives. And that's kind of the way he's run his own life. If you remember, he's given back a lot of his salary as county executive. And so it's the family-style budgeting, I like to call it. And so what happens is the families, they cut back and they find easy ways to cut back. And that's brown bag lunches, not buying the new car, not buying the luxuries.
Well, we're just about out of time, but I'd like to thank you for coming on the show, and best of luck to you, and thank you for helping us out.
All right, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.